Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone's having a good day. My name is Kayla and today we're about to get messy.
When I go with confidence, when I go to the road like hips and take a sip on it, take a trip on it. When I go, you can go slow.
Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my college experience, some advice, and the reason it's been some of the best and worst years of my life. So first and foremost, I am from Arizona, so I am an out-of-state student. And when I was making that college decision, I just knew my ass was leaving Arizona. Not for family reasons, mainly because I did all the big in-state schools back in Arizona are just like, I felt like it was going to be a rerun of high school, and I did not mess with many people in my high school. Like, I was so ready to get out of high school. I could not stand half the people I went to school with. So yeah, I was like, I need to get out as soon as possible. So that's what led me to, obviously, I wanted to kind of get a city life. That's what led me to Boston. But my freshman year was crazy because I partied a lot, and then COVID happened spring semester, so that was an experience. But going back to my partying, I didn't really party a lot in high school. Like, it was like the bigger occasions, like either homecoming and prom, and then half the time, if I did get invited to something, it was whack. Like, y'all already know high school vibes. It was not it. And I didn't really like a lot of people I went to high school with, so I'm like, I don't really want to party with you, but I don't really fuck with you, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's how I am. And my freshman year, I was going ham. You can literally ask any of my friends. Like, when I tell you I went out every single weekend, I was outside. I was not playing with folks. I was outside. And then my grades started to slip, and it was just a mess. It was just a mess because my grades started to slip, and I was like, what just happened? Like, I did not come all the way to Massachusetts to just fail out of college my first year. It wasn't even my first year, it was my first semester. I was like, it was my first year, but it was only my first semester. And I was like, this is not gonna work. So then I was like, I remember that vivid moment because I was an intended biology major at the time. First of all, I didn't even know what the fuck I wanted to study, but I was like, there's just the biggest advice I could give anybody watching this video, if you have not declared your major or you're deciding what you want to major on, don't listen to your mom and dad. I know it sometimes can be a little bit harder if they're paying for your school, but at the end of the day, you are studying what you are going to be studying. And if you don't enjoy it, it's going to be a living freaking hell. And that is what I experienced going through biology and like trying to force myself to like something I did not like. And it made school much worse for me. And it made my situation worse because I felt like I was being forced to study something. And luckily for me, my parents overall have been very supportive about my college decision and what I ended up studying. But some people, on the other hand, like some of the people I know, like their parents were like, if you don't study this, I'm not paying for your school, or you should study this because it makes you more money. Yes, some majors at the end of the day will make you more money, but it's not worth compromising your happiness and going into a deep, dark depression or early onset depression because you're trying to fit your parents' satisfaction, fill their needs when they're not even going to school for you. Like, make it make sense. Oh, that pisses me off so bad. When parents have input on what their kids are studying, when at the end of the day, as long as you have a college degree and you find a job and they're not financially supporting you anymore, what the fuck does it matter? Oh, it pisses me off so bad. But anyways, so bio was just like not it. I don't even know how I made it through almost 2 years. I made it through, oh my god, moment of silence. Because I really did that. So anyways, I literally was like, I remember vividly one of my old coworkers at the job I had before I moved to Boston my freshman year. He was like, oh, he found out I was going to college. He's like, oh, you're going to college? He's like, I promise you, you're going to experience depression. Everyone does. And I was like, depression? Who is that? Like, I had no idea. Like, members of my family experience depression, but I'm a firm believer in, like, sometimes you don't know what it's like, or you will, like, you can sympathize, but you can't empathize sometimes unless you've experienced that yourself. And I had never, like, in my life experienced depression. Overall, I was a very happy child. So I couldn't really empathize at the time for people who were going through that until, like, freshman year. Like, you can ask people I was around, like, I did a complete 360. Like, I went from partying every single weekend where, like, I got to the point where, like, I didn't even, like, I barely left the library at my school, because after getting my first ever college biology exam back and getting, like, a 54% on it, I was like, this is the end of the world. My parents are gonna kill me. I'm gonna fail out of school. And, like, I went into, like, the early stages of depression. Like, I feel like for me, it was the early stages of depression. I was, like, distant from everybody. My friends would be like, Kayla, we haven't seen you. Where have you been? Like, when I tell you, I would wake up like 10 minutes right before class. I was late to class every day because I was staying up till 3 or 4 a.m. just studying. Like, you could ask my freshman year roommate. It was, the poor girl came into the room and I was, like, crying every single day. It was, oh my god. It was the worst experience ever now that I think about it. It was so bad. And then I ended up gaining, like, 30 pounds my freshman year. I came in at 154. No, like 160, let's say. I just finished being, like, an athlete all my life. And when I finished my freshman year, I was 190 pounds. That's almost a 30-pound weight gain. I don't know. I was, like, eating my feelings away and my frustration away in Ben and Jerry's. And, like, my biology class, for anyone who goes to my school, y'all know that this biology class is literally a walking. Like, it's literally hell. They make it so they can weed out students, but instead they're getting students depressed. First piece of advice, as I mentioned, is make sure you're doing something that you enjoy. And it is hard sometimes. Like, luckily for me at my school, we don't really we don't declare majors until our sophomore year. So it's a little bit easier to, like, not really have to take too many classes that are for a particular major, but also at the end of the day, you have to kind of have a major in mind, so you can take one or two of the courses your fall semester, then one or two of the courses your spring semesters, because a lot of these classes have prereqs for the major. A lot of these majors have particular prereqs that you have to meet by a certain time in order to graduate on time. So yeah, screw what everybody else is doing. Worry about yourself and study something that you actually enjoy. Like, I remember when I eventually found out what I wanted to study. By the way, I'm a sociology major. I was taking this class my spring semester of sophomore year. So when I tell you I was doing bio the entire time, I was doing bio the entire time. And my spring semester, and I was like, I enjoyed coming to class. It was a 3-hour long class. And I enjoyed it. It was a night class too, and it was just so amazing. The conversations we were having. It was intro to sociology, the different sociological theories, how they apply to society, why we think the way we think, etc. And it was just, like, amazing. And from there, I was like, I think this is what I want to study, and it ended up being what I wanted to study. So yeah. Fuck what everybody else is doing, worry about yourself, and figure out what you want to study. And, like, unfortunately, it is a shitty, like, situation. Like, luckily I'm fortunate enough where my parents do help me with school, you know? But, like, if your parents are like, you can only do this major, or I'm not going to pay for your school, baby girl or baby boy, like, try to take out a loan or something, because at the end of the day, you're going to be putting yourself through this gruesome pain, and nobody helped you with that degree mentally and physically more than you helped yourself. Alright, y'all, so I'm back. My second area of advice is to not expect to stay friends with some of the people that you met freshman year. Like some of the girls that I met freshman year, I've been friends since freshman year and we're about to be seniors. Yeah, I didn't mention, but I am about to be a senior. And I stayed friends with those girls. And you know what's actually so funny about those friendships is that growing up, I never really met people who were like me. Like at school, I think I definitely felt like I was an outcast because I was very blunt and honest. Like if I didn't like something, you did something to bother me, I was gonna tell you that you did something to bother me and now you pissed me off. So I've always been that kind of person, and I'm sure, as you guys know, or hopefully you will learn, that not everybody can accept or take in that kind of either criticism or that kind of personality. First and foremost, I'm definitely an acquired taste, and not everybody can get a taste of me because she be sizzling sometimes. So the girls that I met, they're very like, all of our personalities mesh so well because overall we're kind of similar in the sense that like the way we show that we care about each other is by like making fun of each other and violating each other. I know sometimes that could be bad, but it works for us. And then two, like we're all very like brutally honest in the sense that like, girl, if you're doing too much, we're gonna tell you you're doing too much, you know what I mean? So I was like, and we're all so loud and obnoxious, but it just works for us. You will definitely know we're in the room. And I was like, when I first met them, I'm like, oh no, like I can't do this. No, like these bitches are too much. I can't do this. Because I wasn't used to having 6 other people who were like me. I think it's 5 or 6 months. I don't even know at this point. Who are like me, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, this is a little too much. But then like over time they grew on me, and till this day we're still friends. But versus on the other hand, the girls that I partied with my freshman year, we're not really friends anymore. It's more of acquaintances. I partied with a group of white girls. Yes, I was that person. I grew up in the suburbs where most of the people around me were white, so please excuse my very little, very little diverse friend group that I had freshman year. Now my friend group, we're all bad bitches, and 2, we're all from a different we're all like ethnic, you would say. Caribbean mommies, you know the vibes. So yeah, I would say don't expect to be friends with a lot of the people that you meet freshman year. Not necessarily don't expect it, but be okay for like the change of meeting new people and embracing new people. Because that's honestly the coolest part of life, is like crossing paths with different people, you know? And like if I'm being honest, the group that I have of friends now, some of them, I like the girls that I'm friends with now who I literally could not, who was like, ooh, y'all doing too much. My freshman year, we didn't really start becoming better friends until the end of first semester. And then it continued developing spring semester, and then COVID happened, and we all still remained friends until today. We're all great friends. But the other group, like once COVID happened, like we just like dispersed, and that happens, you know what I mean? So yeah, don't expect to stay friends with everybody, and if you don't have to be friends with everybody. Like that's like, I'm big on that. Like, oh, just because my homegirl like you don't mean I have to like you, or just because I like you don't mean my homegirl have to like you. Not everybody's my cup of tea, and you're not everybody's cup of tea either, you know what I mean? So I think just like being cautious of that is very super important. It's super important. Jeez, I can't even. All right, y'all. Advice number 3. Take a sip. All right, so advice number 3, I would say, is get involved on campus. It's so important. Luckily for me, I go to a small university, so it's not super hard to get involved. I think it's more of like you wanting to push yourself out of your comfort zone. So if you want to get involved, there's numerous opportunities for you to get involved, especially if you go to a bigger university. But for me, I'm going to be talking about a small university. So I go to a small university with less than like 3,000 students, but we have the big university kind of vibe in the sense that like there's so many opportunities for you to get involved, whether it be like me, I'm a research assistant, I'm a tour guide, I'm an RA, I work the front desk, I'm interning this summer, and then I'm also gonna intern in the fall and spring of this upcoming school year. And we do have like a career center to help students get involved. And then also if you take one thing away from this video is I was never really like this kind of person because I never really like understood the importance of it. But networking when you get to college, bro, it'll change your life. Like, it will literally change your life because one person knows another person knows another person. Like, let's say you want to intern at the governor's office of whatever state you live in, and one of your friends didn't intern there, but you're talking to them about it, and you're like, oh, I know somebody. Or like, let's say you're talking about it in a common space. Like, we have a place called the Center for Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, where a lot of students of color will go to hang out. And sometimes we just bring up conversations or like different things that we want to do. And like, let's say the two people who run that office are there. They know somebody who interned at the governor's office. They're not going to keep that to themselves. They are going to try to help you as much as possible to get you that opportunity. And then what you do from there is what you do from there. But like connections, like even like getting my resident assistant position, I don't really feel like I had connections. I feel like I definitely did that shit by myself. At the time, I didn't feel like I had connections. But there's some people who ended up getting that position that if it weren't for their connections, I know for a fact they would not be RAs. But they had that connections and they built those relationships with people who are a part of residents' life or who could speak for them, speak on their behalf, and they ended up being RAs. So I definitely would say get involved as much as you can. Build that resume. If you want to go to grad school, you need certain things. You need to make sure you're having people who can write you letters of recommendation. I think that is super important. A lot of people are like, oh, like let me wait till my sophomore year. Let me wait till my junior year so I can get acclimated to school. And I definitely think give yourself first semester to figure out like, oh, what works for me, what doesn't. But after that, get it together, because before you know it, like I look back and I'm like, how the heck am I already going to be a senior in college? Like it's not adding up. Like, how did this happen so fast? I'm very grateful, but it's definitely bittersweet. But yeah, if you can get involved or you can network with somebody to help you get involved, do it, period. All right, y'all. So the next thing I would say is don't compare your journey to anyone else's. And that's very, 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 there's not enough varies I can say. It's easy when you go to a small school and like your friends are in the same major as you, or like they're taking the same classes as you. It's very easy to compare their test score to yours, or like, why aren't they struggling as much as I'm struggling? Worry about your damn self, because at the end of the day, it's you who is going to get yourself to that finish line and get that along across that stage and that diploma. You can't compare yourself. I found myself doing that a lot my freshman year, like comparing myself. I'm like, I'm doing everything right. I'm studying, I'm asking for help, and I'm still struggling. And some of my friends, they study 2 days before the exam and they get a higher grade than me. And at the end of the day, that is the journey that, I don't know if y'all believe in God or who y'all believe in, but that's the journey that you're meant to be on. And you really can't compare yourself, because everyone's journey is unique and it's particular to you, you know. But it is very easy to get down and feel like shit about yourself because you're doing everything right and your friends are over here like figuring it out without even having to struggle. But I promise y'all, the struggle comes one way or another. Like for me, I struggled a lot sooner than like some of the people I knew, but then eventually that struggle came to them, and luckily for me, I like figured out what worked for me sooner rather than later, and they were learning it like a little later on. Yeah, so don't worry about anybody oh my god, I can't even speak. Don't worry about anybody but yourself, because at the end of the day, you are the one sitting in that class. You are the one waking up, going to class, studying for exams, asking for help. And yeah, that's what I would really say, is stop worrying about everybody else. But yeah, I think, y'all, those are the biggest pieces of advice looking back from my freshman year. I don't even feel old. I just feel like I'm excited to graduate, and like, yo, I really did that, you know what I mean? Like, I am very excited to graduate and for the future. Yo, I'm sorry for this, like, weird lighting situation. I don't even know what to do about it. But you already know we're at limited space until I move into my actual housing for the school year. Like, I look back, I don't even feel old, but I'm just like, how did 4 years pass by? And like, for me, I only got, once I finished out senior year, it was 2.5 years of actual on-campus living, because I spent a year and a half at home because of COVID. So really, it's just like, it's like, wow, I feel like, in a sense, like, I'm a sophomore living on campus, but with a senior mindset and like senior credits, you know what I mean? But for anybody who is going to go through this for the very first time, or is still figuring it out, y'all got this. Everything that's meant to happen will happen. And if you can find friends or mentors who really want to help you succeed and win, there are ample people who, there might not be a lot of people, but if you find that right niche of people and the friends who aren't haters and they actually want to see you win, and they're not comparing their journey to yours, or they're not like, they don't want to put you on because that means you're going to have the one up on them. Like, cut it out. Like, once you get to college, you will really see that, especially like depending on what you're studying. People are really grimy out in these streets, and you will find those people who aren't grimy and who want to see you win, and who will actually put you on because they respect you enough and they know this opportunity is for you, instead of being quiet about it because they don't want to see you win. Like, you will eventually find your niche. You will find what you want to, your niche in the sense of what you want to study. You will find your people, and some people will find their friends freshman year. Some people will eventually progress and find their friends. Eventually, you will find that tight-knit group of people who care about you, who love you, who want to see you win. Y'all, so I'm going to close out this video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the love I've been getting. Thank you for Messy Thoughts with Kayla. You all have a great academic year. And we 4.0 season, baby, period. That's all we accepting as 4.0s. We're getting on the dean's list again. Y'all know how we do. Y'all got this, and I wish you all well. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, follow me on Instagram. Y'all ain't ready for my next video, period.
When the neighbors yell turn down.